In this video, we're going to introduce multiplication in other bases and a concrete model for multiplying larger numbers. When we were multiplying in base 10, a useful tool for introducing multiplication was an array. 5 times 4 would be 5 sets of 4 dots, or 4 sets of 5 dots, however you want to look at that. So 5 times 4 in other bases, however, well, what you do with that is you multiply. You still have 5 dots and 4 dots because 5 in any base, we're doing base 6 in this. 5 in base 6 is just 5. 4 in base 6 is just 4. So you still have an array of 5 by 4. In base 6, however, what you have to do is think how many groups of, the base is 6, how many groups of 6 can I form from this array? So 5 times 4, let's see, that would be how many groups of 6? So we've got one group of 6 here. We've got one group of 6 here. And a group of 6 here. So 5 times 4 in base 6 is 3 groups of 6 with 2 remaining. And that would be, in base 6, that would be 31, base 6. So 5 times 4 in base 6 is 31. In base 8, you would again set up 5 by 4 array. But in base 8, and excuse me, this should be base 8. Let me fix this on the fly. In base 8, what you have is you just think, how many groups of 8 do I have in this 5 by 4 array? So groups of 8 would be, here's one group of 8 right here. Let's see, here is another group of 8, so I'll go all the way down there. So you've got 2 groups of 8, there's no more groups of 8, so there's 2 groups of 8 plus 4 left over. So 5 times 4 in base 8 is 24. So in general, if you just think about the base, multiply in base 10 and then think, how does that convert to another base? So here's a few examples. 3 times 4 in base 5, well, 3 times 4 is 12. And 12 is 2 groups of 5 plus 2 left over. So 3 times 4 in base 5 is 22, base 5. 3 times 3 in base 4, well, 3 times 3 in base 10 is 9. 9 is 2 groups of 4 plus 1 left over. So 3 times 3 in base 4 is 21 in base 4. 7 times 6 in base 8. Okay, well, 7 times 6 is 42. And 42 would be 5 eighths, which is 40, plus 2 left over. So 7 times 6 in base 8 would be 52, base 8. A nice way to summarize the multiplication in other bases is with multiplication tables. So for example, you just do many of what I just did in terms of multiplying the numbers. If I say, okay, in base 7, we'll say, what is 3 times 6 in base 7? Well, 3 times 6 in base 7, there it is. The multiplication table says it's 24. Let's figure out why. So 3 times 6 in base 7. Well, 3 times 6 is 18. And 18 is 2 sevens, which would be 14, plus 4 left over. So 3 times 6 in base 7 is 24 in base 7. So multiplication tables like this can help you when you're multiplying in other bases. Now, one of the tools for when we start to multiply bigger numbers, larger numbers, such as 24 base 5 times 33 base 5. So a concrete tool is using base 5 blocks. And you think of this 24 base 5 times 33 base 5 as, essentially I could write it like this. I could say that's 24 base 5 times 33 base 5. And when you do that, what you do is you sort of distribute. You say, well, that's going to be 3 times 24 base 5 plus 30 which times 24 base 5. So this is distributive property, and that is embodied well in a table such as this. So let's start out. 33 times 24 in base 5. So I'll do the 3 times 4, just the units. 3 units times 4 units. And I'm not worried about converting yet. I'm just going to say that that is 12 units. So I've got 12 units. The next thing I will do is I'll say I've got essentially 33. So I got 3 tens times 4 ones. Okay, so 3, not tens, but 3 longs, or 3 fives times 4 ones. That would create, okay, 12 sets of longs. And then I'm going to look at the 20, so the 2 longs in the 24 times the 3 units. So 2 units, or 2 longs times 3 units gives me a total of 6 longs. And lastly, I'm going to multiply the longs, which really represent tens, right? 20 times 30. 2 longs times 3 longs will give me 6 flats. So that's the first step in this concrete model. You really don't need to understand much about multiplication. Just say, okay, when I create a 1 long, that's 1 long times, say, 1 unit, that's 1 long. All right. So now the key to this is once you've created this table, then what you can do is just exchange. So the first step is I'm going to exchange the units. So I know that I've got 12 units. 12 units can be exchanged for 2 longs with 2 left over. So that gives me this. Then I'm going to start exchanging flats. Now remember, I have a total now. I have 12 in this little box right here, 12 longs there. I've got 6 longs in this bottom down here, and I've got these 2. So 12 and 6 is 18, and 2 is 20. So I've got 20 longs. So I'm going to exchange 5 longs for a flat, and I've got 20 longs. So I'll be able to get a total of 4 flats out of my longs. Now I'm going to start exchanging the flats. And remember, flats can be exchanged for a block. 5 flats in base 5 equals 1 block. So I exchange 5 flats for 1 block. I have a total of 10 flats. So those 10 flats will exchange for 2 blocks. So now I've done all of my exchanges, and what I'm left with are 2 blocks and 2 units. So that would say that 24 base 5 times 33 base 5 equals 2 blocks, which are like 2 thousands, right? So that's 2 blocks, 125s, no longs, or no flats, no longs, and 2 units. So 24 base 5 times 33 base 5 equals 2002 base 5.